Hello, everybody. Wendell, Bigfoot 911. I got some really good guests here today. Got Mr. Ron Morehead and Darrell Denton. I see we got Roger and Chad and Chaz and Dog and Gary and Elijah and uh, Blackie, Gary. Whole bunch of people already in here.
Yeah, we were on Roger's show last Thursday night.
Yeah, and uh, all right. So we'll get this started then.
All right.
Uh, Ron,
Wendell,
you doing before you got into Bigfoot?
pardon me?
What was
Hang
you
on.
doing before you got into Bigfoot?
Entrepreneur. I had a motel and some restaurants and head by Yosemite. And
Oh, okay.
actually, I was into Bigfoot when I lived in Merced down the valley long before that. So I have always been in restaurants, running them, operating them, owning them, and that's what I did. And
Okay.
motel, I mean, Mariposa. Hmm.
You want to throw out there? I know there's a couple of new folks in the chat over here that's probably never heard your story, how you got started.
Oh well, I knew some people who they were hunters. I was not. I was just working all the time, and they went hunting the mountains. And a couple of brothers came out who'd been hunting up there since 1958 and said there was something strange going on in camp. And they told the other guys that were part of the group, which was there were six of them at the time, five or six, and they all went back up to see what was going on. I didn't. I was just, like I say, working all the time, and I just knew them as friends and knew they were serious guys. And one of them shot out of there. He just got scared the first night he was there when these things started mouthing off because they were hearing these strange sounds at night, which was a language of type, which well, it's the Bigfoot making noises, is what it was. And anyway, he shot out of there. It just scared him. He said whatever the Johnson brothers were talking about when they went up there the first time was true. There's some kind of a monster up there, and they didn't know what it was. So the wives were all worried because at that time they didn't know what anybody was messing with. Nobody was into Bigfoot at the time. It wasn't like a Bigfoot camp. It was a hunting camp. And anyway, they wanted him to go back up and see if the guys were okay because they didn't come out when they were supposed to. He said, I'm not going to go back up there by myself. So he invited me to go with him. If I'd go with him, he'd go back and check out to see if the guys were okay. Well, they were okay. He invited me in and we marched up there, which is 8 miles in the wilderness, by the way. It's pretty hectic trip. It's hard to, let me get this messages off here. Uh, anyway, I got there, got involved in the group that way, and they showed me the track and they had taken, the other guys had taken a recorder up there and they recorded what they heard. And I heard that. And so after that trip, I started going up as often as I could get somebody to go with me. And went up there quite a bit. Started going up there a lot in 1972 and the remainder of 71. And that's been over 50 years ago, 60 now, so 70, whatever. Time flies when you're having fun, huh? So anyway, that's how it started with me. I got involved with the group that way. I became a hunter after that because that's what you did if you were up there. And I kind of let my businesses follow the laugh of my wife, who got kind of ticked off at me. But she understood. I'm adventurous,
Yeah.
always looking for adventure. So that was an unknown thing, and it was kind of important. I thought, and I got involved that way. So that's how we all started recording these things, coming in minutes in us with around our camp at night, and taking tape recorders. We was all recording, and it wasn't until 1972, the winter of '72, when actually Warren Johnson, the leader of our group, he wrote a letter to Ivan Sanderson, who in turn wrote a letter to Peter Byrne, describing what Warren had told him, and he thought it was probably a hoax, somebody pulled his leg, but he said that Peter wanted to check it out. Peter was a Bigfoot researcher, Peter Byrne. He's a
You got a
mainly
question.
known.
Right quick.
Yeah,
You was talking about the guys that didn't come out on time. What happened that caused them to be late?
they just want to stay there because
Oh,
it was going, something's going on, and they just didn't come out. Uh, anyway, uh, that's what happened. So I got involved that way. Peter Byrne ended up contacting Alan Berry, who was the investigative reporter working in Redding, California at the time, and he in turn came down and interviewed us, and we ended up inviting him in. And that was 1972. He started experiencing the same thing with these creatures coming around at night, and he wrote it in a book basically years later, and he has actually fostered the studies that was done on these sounds at the University of Wyoming, who showed them to represent something way outside the human range as far as the vocal abilities go, inside, outside, above and beyond, and below too. So anyway, that's what got it all kicked off for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking with you today and meet my good friend Darrell.
Well, how'd you get with him?
Him, oh yeah, well, he picked me up. He, he picked me up out of a ditch down there in North Carolina, someplace. I met him in
We kind of
Ocala.
been. I've been following Ron for years, like a lot of people have, and
That's disturbing, by the way.
we
Yeah.
became pretty good friends in Ocala, Florida, about 4 years ago, and we started hanging out and doing a few things together. And he joined my team in the LBL, and went on several trips together and speaking, and just had a good time. Become best friends since. So that's
Yeah,
pretty
that's been
much how
good.
it happened.
Since then, I moved out to West Coast again, so I'm kind of separated from back there. So, but I might be going back there pretty soon. In fact, I will be. I'm planning on it anyway. Not to live, but just to be there for some other reasons.
Are you
So,
coming to the Woodwalkers meet and greet?
not that I know of. I'm not sure I know when it is.
Yeah, we
Uh,
Hey,
I haven't even discussed it with him, and because I'd completely forgotten until you mentioned it today. So
well,
where
it's
is it?
in April, the weekend after Easter.
Oh, where at?
It's
they'll
going
be
to
there.
be LBL in Kentucky.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Well,
if you come, and you're going to have to go to Woodwalkers Facebook page and sign up and let them know that you're coming.
well, I'll get some more information on it from Darrell later, and we can
All right.
Yeah,
see if I'm going to
I
be
don't
back
believe
there.
they. I hope they wouldn't kick us out if we just showed up, because if we show up, it'll be me and Martin and Ron, and probably Mike Smith. So I know it'll be me and Martin and Ron. So because Martin is already he was the first one that asked me if I was going to
Okay.
go, and I said, well, I don't know. Ron may be in town at that time. If he is, we may all three go. So that's
That
pretty
would
much
be
what that.
fantastic. And
Uh,
all right, now we got that out of the way. How did you get started in Bigfoot, Darrell?
Well, mine all got started in 1992 on my grandfather's farm in rural Cannon County, Tennessee, Woodbury, about 92 miles from Nashville. I was deer hunting. I hunted there all my life, but not that far in the woods. I was about a mile in, which I normally didn't go that far. Plenty of deer there to take, but I was looking for a trophy that particular time. My granddad was on his back porch, and he pointed over there. He said, "You see that third hilltop with a tree bent, kind of bent to the right?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Go there. Nobody's been in that hollow probably in 30 or 40 years, and probably a big buck deer in that hollow. That's where I would go." I went over. I had three of my friends there. We hunted there every year, opening week of black powder or muzzleloader. Somebody's crackling up. I don't know if it's, but anyway,
Yeah, I hear the static too, but I'm not sure who it is.
we went
well,
on over there, and
Well, I'll find out if it's me.
that make a difference?
a little better, yeah. Anyway, I went on
I mean,
over there and walked to that area. It was a long walk, and I was up on a tree stand about 28 foot up, and there it is, complete. Well, it went completely off for a minute, and I was just waiting for the morning to
wait a minute. Is
come.
that making a difference? Let me. Is it off now?
It's
No, it
better. It's
sounds
better.
like a fan or something.
Sounds like static.
Huh. Well, I don't know if it's me or not. I can't tell.
You're all right there, Ron. Don't worry about it. We're good. So I was up in my tree stand waiting for a big deer to come out, and out stepped this creature out of a cane thicket on the side of a creek. And it looked like it was the meanest, ugliest looking thing I ever seen. It jumped across the creek and it walked down right in front of me and started screaming, started showing me its teeth, and growled at me, and reached over and grabbed a drag rag I had hanging in a tree, ripped it out of the tree, and came back and screamed and yelled at me. And I thought it was going to come across the creek and pull me out of the tree. And that's how I got started. It
Okay.
walked off and didn't bother me.
Well, what was you doing before Bigfoot?
I was working like Ron. I was in. I had several businesses I was working on. I was in. I had an auto dealership and I had a cleanup shop. And I was just got elected as an elected official at that time. My first term, I was a county commissioner, and um, besides that, I was trying to raise a family and work hours and spent plenty of time hanging out with my buddy Martin Grove.
Okay. What would you have been doing if you hadn't got into Bigfoot? You still been in politics and all that?
No, I served my time in politics. I was involved in all that, around 28 or 30 years. I was elected 6 or 7 times. I never lost an election because I always stood behind the people. They appreciated that. So whatever they wanted me to vote for is what I voted for. If they didn't want it, I didn't vote for it.
All right.
My time is over in politics. I'm mainly into looking for creatures in the woods with Ron and Martin and Mike, who's joined us recently, and hope to do a lot more adventures throughout this year. We got a big adventure coming up if it comes together like it's supposed to. Ron and myself and Martin and Mike Smith and that, and just trying to make a living here and there, doing some certain things, and trying to enjoy the adventure, the biggest thing.
Okay. I was watching you and Duke, and he showed you a 31-inch track, and you didn't seem a bit impressed by it.
Well, I've never. The biggest track I've personally ever seen was 22 inches. I mean, that I personally have seen or found. Now, the 31-inch track's pretty impressive. I've never seen one that big, but I know the track you're talking about. That's extremely large.
Yeah.
Ron, what's the biggest track you ever seen?
25.5 inches. And that was, there was 4 of them, 13 foot apart. And that was up in
It's a
Sierra's,
big
our
track.
fire
That's
camp.
big.
Yeah, that was a big dude. Never saw those tracks around our camp. The largest around our camp was about 19 to 22 inches right in there. And, but I think that's because of whatever size it was. It had to be pretty big. It may not even fit behind those trees. I don't know those.
Probably
The
right.
trees, the trees are pretty big, so he probably didn't come around that because of maybe, I don't know. But there was a big guy, whoever he was, or whatever, maybe can't be sexual anymore. Don't know if it's a guy or a girl.
Well, the
Didn't see
biggest
it, but
I
found the
found
track.
13 inches.
Well, that's Darrell Denton right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wear a 13 or a 14 depending on the shoe.
Yeah.
Just can't go barefoot. Someone might shoot you, Darrell.
Got a good point, Ron.
Maybe that's where the smell's coming from.
Could be. Could be.
What do you think orbs are, and what's their purpose?
I think their energy, their energy. That's what they're a form of intelligence. Orbs are, well, they're just, well, we've all seen them. I've seen them. I've had a few of those who came around, and It's all, a lot of it's related to the Bigfoot phenomena because we're all energy, really. You get down to the basics, where that's what we are, made of energy, frequency, and vibration. And you'll hear me hit on this all the way through this interview if I keep talking, because
Yeah.
once your biological body dies, your energy only keeps it going. According to physics, it can't die. And I think probably it goes into another dimension, and that's what these are. They're in another dimension that they can go out of your visual range, and they can be in it. Depends on the density they choose at the time. But they are a form of intelligence. And if you ever seen the David Paulides missing 411, missing the hunted. I mean, died about 15 minutes. It's a good reproduction of the orb. I say orb. Orbs are generally referred to as round, but what I saw that night was elongated. It was like a lightsaber I refer to, and it just come floating by our tent. And nothing surprises me up there. I got to tell you, nothing surprises me anywhere anymore. I'm just one of those guys that realize there's a lot more going on that we're just never going to see until you can see energy. Because energy can be sensed generally, but generally you don't see it.
Yeah.
And that's how they disappear too, by going out of our perception, which causes their density to change, so they stop track waves and all that stuff. Anyway, I can just carry on through this whole thing if you just turn me loose, or just hold me back.
Yeah, I know. I've watched enough of your interviews to know how you go.
I wonder. Oh, yeah, I drift. One thing leads to
How'd you
another.
come up with the idea to get into the quantum physics of it?
Well, the investigative reporter that I mentioned earlier, Al Berry, he had a master's degree in science, and he started experiencing these strange things also that we were experiencing up there. Not just the Bigfoot, but other things.
Yeah.
And he said, you don't talk about this stuff, or you're gonna get in trouble. You won't be invited anywhere. They'll think you're a Looney Tune. So we didn't for a long time. We just didn't talk about it. But I do now, because he said stay with science. So I stayed with science. I said, well, it has to be an answer to all this stuff. It just has to be. Too many people are reporting it. I experienced it. All of us did up there, and uh, it just there has to be an answer to it. So I started delving into science, really, and it's modern science. It's only been around a little over 100 years, and it's quantum science,
Yeah.
and it's not Newtonian physics, which we're all brainwashed to believe that's all there is. Something you can measure, predict, physical, all that stuff, but it's our five senses that we live in this third density environment. So there's more going on, though, that we just don't see. It's outside of our visible range. It's outside of our sense of smell. It's outside of our sense of hearing, but it affects you, and we don't see it. That was all established mainly by the Hadron Collider in Switzerland in 2012, when they sent a particle through that collider, and it turned into got a certain speed. It turned into energy. They didn't see it, but they could sense it with their sensors, and that's been established now. That falls right into Paul Dirac, 1933, who got the Nobel Prize for antimatter. And physicists worldwide accept this. It's just most of the public don't understand it, or don't want to understand it, one or the other, because most of the public just wants to realize the only thing that's real is what you can see, feel, or touch with your five senses, which is Newtonian physics from 1687. And that's not all there is. There's a whole lot more going on. If we only knew what was going on around us right now, we would all be probably, well, we'd be looking around. We'd be looking
Yeah,
around, but we wouldn't see it.
we
But
would.
there's all kinds of energy. We all are energy, and that's all we are. But we're limited with our scope of understanding.
Yeah.
Cool.
You was talking with I can't think of his name right this second. The guy that does uh, a lot of Christian studies, Bible studies, and all that.
L.A. Mozilla?
No,
No.
uh, he's been studying the different religions for a long time.
Yeah, I can't
Well,
remember exactly who it is.
But
several of us have been doing that. Yeah.
that got me thinking. Christianity wasn't the first religion, and some of the other stuff that came before them, how do we know that they didn't have the languages that these critters have?
They could
Or
have.
some,
Well, we don't know. Other than we know the cuneiform text, which is Sumerian text written and given to the Sumerians in 3450 BCE. Those go way back into the Anunnaki and how creation really happened, and it's all written down in stone. Really, it's the
right,
first written language known to man. And most all languages, most all religions, basically go to go to that core, and pull out the religion based on that, on those writings, which is something you can see. You don't have to have faith in them. You just go look at them and read them if you know how to interpret. They're reinterpreted by the University in California. They were only discovered in 1800s, and they were really just being interpreted now. All of them, there's thousands of them, and it's a written language, and it talks about the creation, and it talks about who was here, and it was given to the Sumerians, Babylonians, and if you get into Mesopotamia and start studying history, you'll find out this stuff. And it talks about a lot of things that's really related. You can pull right into the King James version of the Bible if you want to. It goes way back into, oh gosh, history. It talks about how old we used to be and how our second chromosome was tampered with and created the longevity we have now, which is our telomeres, and gives us only 120 years to live at the most. Most and it gets deep, and I encourage anybody just to start studying if they want to find out about how things happen. But it correlates a lot with a lot of biblical texts, a lot of ancient texts, Hebrew mythology, Greek mythology. Gets all the way back into giants. It relates right to our, and you can see I can, because I was raised religiously and I understand the Bible pretty well. And I started looking first when I first encountered these things. I started looking in the Bible where giants came from. There's a whole lot of information about out there that people just need to look in, but they got to go further because it doesn't tell you everything. It does. The Bible doesn't. It just tells you what. Well, that's a religion, and religion is based on fear and control, in my opinion. Christianity is not. It's spirituality is what we all are, and that's where I like to go with all this because I think if it wasn't for the Bigfoot creatures, I wouldn't be talking like I am now because it's led me into all this.
Yep. Same with me.
well, you're always talking about it being part the vibration. Uh, what's the three?
Their density, energy, frequency, and vibration.
Yeah. Have you tried to learn how to raise your uh, vibrations or frequencies that you can?
Well, we all have. That's what we're here for, is to learn how to raise it because we're in third density and we have the ability to get out of this if we choose to become one with the Creator. I guess that's what Christ talked about. Which that all can be one with the Father as I am one with the Father. And
Yeah.
when you get into that and start really reading the red letter edition, what hasn't been modified, hasn't been changed by whoever wants to be in charge, you find a lot of nuggets in there that just really can help you along because it's good stuff. And it just, yeah, we are energy vibrating at a
Right.
frequency at the most minute level of our existence. Everything is. Everything is. However, we're only seeing third density. There's all these other densities out there, all these other dimensions. And there's been 11 established by quantum science, and we only live in 3. So you have to understand where you're at before you can know where to go. But we are able to raise our density and get out of this, and that's what we're here for, is to raise it via experiences that we have. If we learn hatred, war, and hurting people, stuff like that, you're not ever going to get out of this third density. We have to learn how to treat everything with love and compassion, or we will be stuck here. So once you learn that and start creating your life around that and responding to things, all your experiences through that that framework, you will raise your density. But you do a lot of that through meditation because a lot of it boils right down also to the pineal gland, which is inside your brain, and it's a little uh, size of a rice, a piece of rice, really, but it's calcified by our diets, and we don't see clearly like we're designed to do. You have to decalcify that, and you do that through diet because we've been slowly but surely poisoned over the years through our culturalization, which has to put preservatives and everything. And anyway, it goes on and on and on. I was gonna say, if you don't stop me, I'll just keep rattling.
Ron's probably the best in the world with this quantum physics stuff, in my opinion. He really does know it all, and he studies it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Nobody knows it all, Darrell. I don't know it all. No.
Yeah, it's true, but you do a pretty good job at what you've done with it.
Well, thank you. Humbling, but
Well,
anybody can do it.
did you see that post I put up there from Hillary?
No, I didn't see it. No.
Can you see it now?
I'm on a cell phone. Everything I'm looking at is about an eighth of an inch
you're little
square.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that, Hillary. Ron had states, sometimes I wonder if this phenomenon is simply a way to push us into realizing there's more than what we can see. And we both agree, yes, on that. Ron does. So,
Yeah. Well, we
I
only
think
see
that,
within 430 and 770 terahertz. That's our visual light frequency. Everything's energy frequency, but light has a frequency, and
Right.
that's light's frequency. But all these other frequencies are out there. You understand that, you got somewhere to go with this. If you don't understand that, then you're going to be stuck right here all the time, thinking everything has to be measured, seen, felt, or touched, or something through your five senses. But there's more going on, and
Hey,
anyway, I'll slow down.
I was just saying, hey to
and Jenny Wheeler.
Judy here. Yeah, he's saying hello to everybody.
Yeah, I think I think you realize that too after you study that. I've read Ron's book here behind me, The Quantum Bigfoot, and I've read it 5 times. And every time I read it, I'm not a big reader. It takes me a while to read something, but it's probably the most impressive book that I've ever read, and I've read it that many times because every time I read it, I learn something different, or
Well,
I
thank you,
see
Darrell.
something I've missed in there. So the book really does break down the quantum physics of how this stuff works and gives you an idea how to figure it in your mind.
Well, I think it's a science that actually answers the woo-woo. Everybody used to call me a
Yeah,
woo-wooer, but woo-woo and paranormal, all that stuff is all just stuff we don't understand.
right.
Once you understand it, it becomes normal. It's not paranormal, it's normal once you understand the laws behind it. Everything from the atom through the cosmos works on the rules of quantum physics. Everything. We're stuck in third density, thinking everything's Newtonian physics, but it's not. That's just part of it. That's what we live in. And so we have to learn this more of and learn how to vibrate out of that.
Do you know if your book's on audio books?
Yeah, I got one coming out actually any time now through Alex Hayax. He's got the Hanger one that should be up pretty soon. I think we've sent all the stuff to him now, I believe. So I've signed a contract with him. So that's an audio book on voices in the wilderness only. That's the only one I got out right now. But
Okay.
it's my voice, which AI puts in, which is very kind of, all I had to do is talk for about a minute, and then all of a sudden it scans my book and puts everything in my vocal, my
That's
voice.
fascinating how good that stuff works. It does a fantastic job.
It's amazing, and
It
it's
is.
also it's got the sounds of the Bigfoot that I'm talking about. It's got the sounds we recorded embedded in that. So once you get
Yeah.
the audio book, which will be on my website probably any time now, and it's to be the audio book, and
That's Voices in the Wilderness.
yeah, and it's based on the documentary that's coming out here in springtime by Renaissance, a production company. It's Brett and Jill. They've been working on that now for 2 or 3 years. It's going to be really, really good, I think. What I've seen and the people they've interviewed is just outstanding. So it'll put things over the edge for a lot of people that don't understand. They will understand after this just how credible and incredible this whole situation is that we're living in nowadays. This is a very unique time in our history that we're all living in. And I think we need to acknowledge that and understand who we are as humans, why we're here, why Bigfoot don't interfere. Well, they're not supposed to interfere. They tell them to do because they have free will like we all do. And but nothing's supposed to interfere with how we are approached with what issues we have come in front of us. We all have problems. We all have
Yeah.
issues that come to us. With somebody got hurt, somebody died, somebody this, that, and the other. It's all those things. How you respond to those things is so important for us as humans to understand just how important it is, and to respond to them with caring, love, and compassion. And once you learn that and get over this little threshold we're in, it's a big threshold really, because this third density is made. It's here just for us to do just what we're doing right now. It's trying to conquer that and become who we're supposed to be, who we're designed to be. And that's something very special as a human being. Just saying. I believe it.
Well, I'm worse than Darrell about reading. I don't read nothing. That's the reason I was wondering about the audio book. And
Yeah.
have you ever come to Alabama and done any research?
I've been to Alabama conferences. I've never researched there. I've just moved back from North Carolina. I was there for 3 years. And that's
Okay.
actually when I started visiting all those eastern states. But until then, I'd been on the West Coast mainly because that's where I was born and raised. And I decided I want to come back here and be close to my grandkids and my kids. So I moved away last June and here now. But I like those states back there. It's just that my magnetites work best out here. You know what magnetites are? They
Well, I've
surround your
not been
brain.
in the Bigfoot things except I started in 2023, and here I am at this point now. And I think I finally got a glimpse of something 3 times at the last camp out we did.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
uh, Woodwalkers came down in 2024. We did a camp out down there, and that was where I heard my first howl at. It wasn't. It was more of a canine howl, but it was still, and it was far enough off. It didn't scare me. I was excited just to hear it.
Well, good for you.
But and there was some other folks. They actually got recordings of what we think was a Bigfoot.
Hmm.
You hang out in the forest long enough and just sit and listen, especially in the late hours of night, and you're going to hear some type of creature. And a lot of times, depending on where you're at, you're going to hear one that you're not very familiar with. So,
Yeah,
and Bigfoot, you never really find it; it finds you. So if it knows your abilities and it knows your intentions. And I think that's a lot of reasons a lot of people aren't allowed to see them because a lot of people don't have the right intentions and they're not very open-minded to those people.
Yeah, it's your vibration, your vibrational frequency that you're. We all have a vibrational frequency. All of us do. And I think they can tune into that when you're in the right space. And so you have to just have the non-aggressive, but keep your flag up because there are some bad things out there too. And
yes, there is, and they're not Bigfoot or Dogman.
well,
Well,
uh,
there's a lot of bad Bigfoot too. I've run into some of those, but fortunately I've never run into a bad dog man. I've seen 4 of them, and none of them have tried to attack me, and 2 of them could have very easily. So
Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do with your intentions, and they have a way to pick up your abilities and what your intentions are inside of you. These
and I
creatures
do
have
think they like to mess with you too.
they can pick up your
they can be
fear.
mischievous. Yeah, Ron knows that for sure. It's a Sierra town.
Uh,
Yeah,
they they pick up on fear if you've got fear, and most people do when they get out there amongst things they don't understand, don't know. They want to shoot it, kill it, or run
Right.
away from it. But if you have the security within yourself of who you are as a human being and know the dominion you've been given on this planet, you're going to be okay. uh, you can call it off because you are in charge. You're in charge. They're out in the forest like an animal. I say like an animal. They're a little different than an animal. I can tell you that. Because when we were up there in the 70s in the Sierras, we thought of them just as another animal in the woods that just hadn't been discovered yet. But we're still looking for the ape in the woods, thinking that's what it was. But they're more than that. What we ran into is a lot more than that. We found out they have language and they have all kinds of abilities that we just couldn't
Exactly.
understand at the time. And not that we understand them now, but people are going to experience strange things. But Bill's right. When you get out there in the woods, just be still and let them know who you are, and be respectful of the area, and try not to have fear when you hear something you don't understand. If you don't know what that whoop mean or what that howl meant, just be still. And we learned that if you just be still, they don't think they got your attention. They haven't really got a reaction out of you yet. Well, they're gonna come in closer and start messing with you. And they do mess with you. You're right, Wendell. They mess with you, and
Um,
because they think
there,
we think we're smarter than them.
there, I heard that there was a person that was listening to some vocals vocalizations, and there's a Native person close by that also heard it, and it was uh, three of the words was part of their language. It says "scare you do." I
Hmm.
don't know if that was true or not, but that was what I heard.
Well, they can mimic anything. I think they have a vocal range much superior to us, much superior. That's been established by the studies we've had done here, and they can mimic anything. What gives away is the amplitude. It's not
Yeah.
surprising to me that they haven't learned other words from other cultures, other American languages or Native American languages, whatever.
Well, I've heard they mimic people calling people
Yeah,
names.
yeah, they
So
can mimic your dog, thinking
Uh,
your dog's not even out there.
they can mimic just about anything you said. When the
yeah,
ones I was around for nearly 5 years on the Cumberland River in Tennessee, when I would leave, I would say bye. I see you guys tomorrow or the next day, and I would hear bye, bye, bye for like 4 or 5 different areas of them mocking me saying bye. So they have a way of picking up on how they can speak like you. I've even heard what sounded like children talking in the woods before. Yeah,
Hmm.
no children out there, and I'm sure it was probably them mimicking being around children at one time or another. And Ron was in the Sierra camp when he heard a car door slamming, and
Yeah.
8 miles from the nearest road. So
yeah.
they just have that ability to mimic just about anything. And I believe
Well,
they can shapeshift too.
well, that's just a matter of energy and matter transferring, which is
Right.
established by science in 1933. Antimatter. That's the direct exchange between matter and energy, and we talked about that a few minutes ago. So shapeshift. I don't know if they're all the same though. I got to tell you, Wendell. I don't think they're the same at all. I've been all over the world with this stuff, and
I don't think they
they
are either.
they seem to have different attributes from different areas, and
Yeah.
that's because if you can believe there was a Neanderthal, which we know there was a Neanderthal man, there was a Cro-Magnon, there was a Denisovians, there was a Bushman Hottentot. It goes on, all kinds of different um, humanoid type species were here,
Yeah.
uh, and all kinds of aliens, if you really want to get into that, have been on this planet and
Yeah.
been visiting here for ages. And those aliens have messed with the genetics of different species. So it doesn't surprise me that there's not different types of these all over the world, and it's just how it is. I think a lot of them have been crossbred too with indigenous people from
Exactly.
from here,
Yep.
and I think that's what the Patterson film represents
Yep.
is a very diluted, I guess you want to call it, hybrid that's a species from a human and one of these Bigfoot things. So, because what we dealt with up there was quite different. It doesn't have the same track configuration, and these trackways were we spotted them tracked in the ground over the years was all the same conformation, same look, wide, splayed, five toes. When you find a trackway, it's one track after the other. You know, they walk like that, and just
Metatarsal break.
yeah, I don't know if they had one of those because I never had. We weren't looking for that. To be honest with you, we weren't looking for tree structures. We weren't looking for tents or nothing like that. Well, we looked for everything. But nothing out of the normal. I mean,
Well, have you ever run across any of the little people?
no, not that I know of. Might have been so small I didn't see them, but I don't know. No,
Me
no,
neither.
I
I've
have
never
not.
seen that I know of.
But there's no doubt that all kinds of things exist that we just don't understand and haven't run across because they're out of our density a lot of times. And until they reduce themselves down into our density, you won't see them unless they come into our vibration.
I got a question up there from Hillary. Do either of you think that there are some that are normal and others that are on a higher level in terms of extra abilities?
Yeah, like I say, they're not all the same. So some have been diluted down. They're more human-like than others, and some of them are not. And there's also a hybridization program going on as we speak on this planet. This planet is a jewel of the solar system, and I think aliens use it for their hybridization programs,
I think
and
you're right.
that's biblical. It's not just me talking. That's pretty much accepted by a lot of people. We're not what evolution says we are. Not completely. We are the troglodytes. Definitely, the caveman definitely evolved. You know, you got the Homo sapiens. You got all these things that evolved. And they did evolve, but something else happened in between that we just don't know about. Well, we're beginning to know about it, or the veil is being lifted. We're beginning to understand that there's more going on, and more has gone on in the past that we are understanding now. But no, they're not all the same. Some of them have different abilities than others.
Okay. And she followed that one up with perhaps their species was chosen to tinker with by aliens.
I definitely believe that. I'm not sure it's the other half of the unknown. You know, Dr. Melba Ketchum has her DNA, over 100 samples of DNA in the Genome Project. You know, that was proved to be 58% human female, the other part unknown. Uh, I believe the unknown could most definitely come from alien production itself. So I've always believed that. The ones I was with on the river that I spent a lot of time with and met with regularly, they seemed to let me know they came from up above. So I asked, does that mean another galaxy? And that's what I got. So I'll always believe that. And I believe there's different types of these too. Not all of them are the same. That's not saying that every one of them came from an alien, but because I've seen what I believe to be 4 or 5 different types of these creatures, and none of them are alike at all in their looks anyway. Uh, but they're very intelligent. They're just as intelligent as a human being, and even smarter than some.
Debbie asked, "Do you think they're dangerous?"
Sure, they are. Some of them, just like people, there's good and bad in everything.
Exactly. That's what I think too.
Right, I agree.
Uh,
The late great Scott Carpenter, my friend, he 100% believed that there was some in the forest of East Tennessee that you were on their menu, and he made that statement quite a few times in his videos and when he was out researching. He had told me that numerous times. So I don't doubt that not being the truth.
yeah, I think the Gugwa is the ones that are more or less straight up bad tempered or whatever you want to call it.
Well, the Gugway, in the Native American language, means face eater anyway,
Yeah.
so it's not a very good
Yeah.
name. But I think a Gugway is quite a bit different than a Bigfoot. It has some of the same features, but it has pointed ears and a snout and double row teeth. So I've never seen a Gugway, but I know there are some in the land between the lakes.
Yeah. One of the interviews I was watching with Ron, they was talking about native people had different names for them, and some of them would not translate into anything is because that's what they called themselves.
Wow.
Don't know what to say about that.
I don't either.
Well, like I say, it was one of your interviews I was watching last night, getting ready for the show.
One of my interviews?
Yeah,
What was said again? Say that one more time.
they at native people had so many different names for them,
Yeah,
and most of them translate into being big hairy man or mountain monster or something. But there's
right.
others that they called them that did not translate into anything in their languages because that's what they called themselves.
Hmm. Well, that's
You may
interesting.
you may have misunderstood what he said because I'm pretty sure he would probably recall that. But
Well, it was an old interview. He probably forgot it.
yeah.
Oh, I got a good memory, just not as long as it used to
Yeah, yeah, I know that feeling. I might not remember this one after an hour or two.
be.
Darrell, do you think where'd it go? Do you think the Gugway are in LBL?
Yes, I think they are. I've had I've had I can't remember if he was an archaeologist or what he was, but he was researching. I understood for the government the far east side of the LBL, which would be closer to the Tennessee River, that area. And I was told by his friend that he had spotted one or two of those creatures in that area, which is not right inside the LBL, but very close.
Hillary, I can't answer that because I just have. They didn't call out the names when they did it. They just said that some of them was talking, called themselves something else. So, what do you think about all these metal sounds that people hear in the woods, like gates closing and doors closing, and there ain't none in the woods?
Yeah, I've had that. Personally, I've had the very metallic sound coming when one of these things was around my shelter that night, one night, and didn't know what to think about that. I couldn't record it because my battery was gone dead. My new lithium battery had gone dead, and it just a metallic sound. This is after I heard some chatter, Bigfoot chatter. This is in 2011, I think it was, and just concerning. You don't know what. One time I thought this is daytime when this other thing happened. But I was up in listening to what sounded like a tuning fork, a huge tuning
Yeah.
fork above us, outside, up above our heads, like a big whirling sound. And couldn't find the source of it. Yeah, it was daytime, and that was strange. That happened more than once up there, but it doesn't mean it wasn't there. It just means we couldn't see it. And
Right?
does that mean we were blind, or does that mean it was out of our perception? It was out of our perception. It's the reason you don't see some spaceships nowadays, because I say spaceships because we all believe that I think the aliens have been here. They are here now, and
Sure.
they're curious what we're doing to this planet, which we're showing total disrespect for the planet this time. Most
Yeah.
people are. We're a warring species. We're hurting other people, and that's what we've got to stop as a species. We've got to stop that stuff. It just doesn't make sense. Number one, why you want to hurt somebody else? It doesn't make. It's
We
all
got
about.
Mr. Groves in the chat now.
Oh, Martin,
What's up, brother Martin? Good to see you, buddy.
are you there,
Uh,
Martin?
do you think that there's more of the boogers now, or is it just that we've been close so much? The reason we're seeing so many.
I'm losing volume from you guys there somehow.
Yeah, we're
I think
encroaching
there's
more and
more
more.
now than there were myself. I mean,
Yeah,
plus you've got people out in the forest now more than you did before, and they're
exactly.
also building a lot of structures, homes, and shopping areas and businesses that's causing these creatures to also run out of their area, their homeland, and people are seeing them more. But I definitely think there's more of them than there was when I got started because there's just more of them seen, and I've seen more in the last 15 or 20 years than I did the first 10.
That's
Oh,
like me. I've been in the woods. I'm 64, but fixing to be 65 next month or February, and I never really had nothing until I moved up here in Heflin. I found 2 tracks of my driveway back in 2018, I think it was, and then nothing until I got into this outfit.
well, they're being exposed. I think they're exposing themselves too, just because I think we're all supposed to know about this. We all will know about this probably the next year or two. It's going to be more and more out there, just like UFOs are being acknowledged now by our government, and more and more people are seeing them. So more and more people are seeing these different creatures, and I think they're just able to see out of this veil that we've been put under a little bit. We're seeing through it a little bit, and
Our brother Flat Rock has a question. Knowing these critters have been seen in every state, what's your opinion on the possible numbers?
wow, that's hard. That's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys a little bit. Some reason my volume's not coming in, but
How many of them are there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say. I mean, there's just no limit. How many stars are in the universe? You don't know. There's things we just don't know, and I think the amount of types of energies that are out there are innumerable. It's just we don't see them. What they are, we don't know. Uh, so many things we don't know, and that's why it's just I encourage anybody just to pick up a 101 book and start reading on history, because if we don't learn from our past, you're bound to repeat it. And that's why we
my
have.
my my answer to that would be, I go back to this. I mentioned Ron and I've talked about this before. Going back to the Ocala, Florida conference, I heard a great scientist make a statement that there might be 5,000 of these creatures in the United States, and not being disrespectful, I almost started laughing because I believe there might be 5,000 in Tennessee. So I don't know what the numbers are, but 5,000 is extremely low number.
So 10,000 would be 2.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Right.
so. I mean, it's obvious some states have more of them than other states,
Right.
and I think it has a lot to do with the availability of the food, the water, the resources, where they like to live and flourish. So I know that would be the reason. That I think probably the states that have the more sightings and the more of them living in the area would be the Southwest, where Ron is actually from, California, Oregon, and Washington State. They seem to have the greater numbers of sightings out there, but they have a larger area also to live in that area, because that backs up over into British Columbia the further you go, and the more dense forest you have. So, but I think they're producing more and more in every state. I don't know of any state that I've heard of that didn't have one, except maybe Hawaii. I haven't heard of one from there, but most of the other 49 states, you hear of them on a pretty much regular basis.
Yeah. I've heard that Hawaii has little people out there. but
Yeah,
they
it
don't
may
have the
have. I
big.
don't know.
They don't have the big ones. So, what other cryptids have you seen, Ron,
With my
or,
eyes,
or run across anyhow?
no tellings. I don't know. I mean, I could say zero because um, other than Bigfoot, that's my main been my main passion, understanding that what we ran into, the mysteries and the attributes they have, and trying to understand that stuff. That's been my passion, my goal, my for the last 50, 60 years. So
Do you
it's
have any idea how long they live
no, I think when they're in our density, when they're in our where we are, they age
in
like
their
we do.
timeline?
Yeah, when they go out of that, if they can, and I think some do, they wouldn't age like we do. You don't age when you're outside of our third density. That time as we perceive it, well, I don't like to say this, don't exist.
Yeah,
Yesterday don't exist. It's only exists in your conditioned brain, what you remember and what you think. That's if
Yeah.
you think it exists. Tomorrow don't exist. It's not here yet. So the only thing that really exists is the now. It's when you're supposed to make all your decisions in the now. It's the only thing that can be credible is how you respond to the now. And that's hard to get your head around because you think there's going to be a tomorrow. There was a yesterday that you remember. It's all in your brain. It's all in your head. I think we have to get out of our head and into our heart. Our heart has the more
Yeah.
energy than the brain ever had. And once you couple that with your brain and teach it to live and learn from your heart, you're going to be further ahead because that's going to tell you the right thing to do. Or the coherence. I think the pineal gland is the receiver that receives right down into your heart, gives you that gut feeling that you think, well, maybe I should go there, or maybe I should go over there. Well, go where your heart says because that's what's going to be right for you. Your brain will talk you out of stuff. It'll fill in the holes because there's gaps in our knowledge, just absolute gaps in our brain. The brain's responsibility is to take care of your body and to give us a conscious thought. But those conscious thoughts have to be correlated and have to be connected to your heart, in my opinion. And
I agree with that.
me
those
too.
three things together
Uh,
have to come together.
I was wondering, I quit seeing Martin in the chat. I was wondering if he's still there, and if he is, if he'd like to come on with us.
I told him today that I'd be on, and he said he was going to try to find us. So, but he's got some stuff he was doing today, so he probably just checked in for a minute.
Okay. Well, he's welcome to join us if he wants to.
Oh,
I'll
sure. Thank you, Wendell.
I'll let I'll send the link to him if he wants to.
And
I've
we'd
heard
be
it in the
more
chat.
than happy to have Martin on with us anytime. He's one of my best friends, and Ron being the other, and always enjoyed having both of them on with us.
Yeah, we got, like I say, we got Bama Murdoch in the chat.
Hey, Bama, how you doing, buddy?
We got Flat Rock in there,
Flat
and
Rock,
uh,
bunch of good people.
I'm still here. I'm be in chat. Thanks. So I guess he don't want to come on right now.
Probably not. He had some stuff he was doing today.
But we got some pretty good names in the chat, and just thought we'd invite him in here since he was here.
Sure, no problem with that at all. Ron and I think the world of Martin, and he's always welcome with us anytime.
Yeah, I've enjoyed
Absolutely.
every time I've met with him.
Good man.
Very good person.
I, what's the word on Barton? I haven't heard nothing out of him lately.
Barton's kind of off doing some things that he's involved in, and really haven't had a chance to communicate with him much in the last 3 or 4 months. So he's
Yeah.
doing some things that he got involved in.
Hang on just a second. I gotta mute the mic here for a minute.
My phone was getting low, Ron.
Okay,
It
well,
is?
Yeah, I got my plug, but it doesn't seem like it's picking up like I thought it would. So,
well, we've been here an hour. If you need to go, we can do that.
oh, I'm sure. I appreciate you having us on. I'm glad we could be on with
Yeah,
you, Wendell.
you
I'm
bet.
glad you came on. And I sent Ron a friend's request years ago, and I haven't heard back from him on
Uh,
that.
I guess I got several thousand of those. You can only take so many. And
Yeah,
I apologize, Wendell. I'll look for it again. Or send me
that's
another
okay.
one.
Well,
uh,
now when I go to it, it don't give me the option to add you as a friend.
I think you're only allowed so many.
You're right, 5,000, I think.
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
yeah.
People ask me, and I can't add them. So,
And I don't want anybody to think I'm ignoring them. I just can't
me either.
accept. Yeah. But anyway, it's a compliment that so many people want to friend me. It's nice.
Well, like I say, I've been doing this for like 3 years now, and I'm surprised anybody I'm actually doing it. And
You're doing fine, Wendell. You hang in there, buddy. You're doing a good job.
and well, we're going to go ahead and sign off then, and we'll get
Thanks
together and do
everybody
it
for
again.
watching today.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching us, and thanks for having us on, Wendell.
Thank you for coming on. I'm going to stop this, and you all hang on just for a second backstage.
All right.
Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Wendell.
All
Thank you,
right.
buddy.
Bye bye, everybody.